Hi guys, I'm Shyla, and today we are joined by Abhi, and he's the CEO of Safle. Am I saying it right? Is it Safle?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Is it Safle? So thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
The pleasure is mine.
We're really excited to have you on, so thank you so much. So you've got a really good, a rich background in crypto. So for the people who aren't familiar, could you tell us a bit about who you are and a bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Abhi. Everyone calls me Abhi, but my name is Abhimanyu Kashyap. I was born in New Delhi in India. And, when I was growing up, I was deep into sports, music, dance, theater, and I love mathematics actually while growing up, and I love the relation between numbers. And there is something known as Vedic maths actually in India, and which I fell in love with, because it sort of gives you the ability to solve higher computations without the use of pen and paper or any kind of digital device. And it's more sort of, you get infused in patterns deep in mathematics. So that's where I kind of moved on to commerce, really early in my life. And my mother thought I could be the best accountant or economist in the world, and I started pursuing that. And I was working with a French firm known as Mazars, which is an assurance and auditing firm, one of the top 10 firms in the world amongst PricewaterhouseCoopers and Ernst & Young. And, when I was doing that, I still felt that there was some unresolved questions inside of me, and there was something not right and aligned while I was cooking books and, passing through business entries for corporate pleasure. But then, that's when I kind of started drifting from that at an early age, when I was 20, 21. And I thought that's when I also started getting inclined and enrolled into writing, where I started writing poetry and writing stories, and also practiced writing a lot of journals, and that's what kind of made me drift away from accounting and started focusing more towards communications. That led me to move towards the UK for my master's, to pursue my my master's degree in the UK, in Nottingham. And while I was doing this, I was basically, my inclination towards reading and writing was more towards mysteries, which were unsolved as well around the world, not just ancient, but in today's time and era. And while I was doing that, I was following deeply something known as WikiLeaks, which was Julian Assange, and and I was following him very closely, until basically the time that the intelligence agencies shut him down and censored WikiLeaks from us. And while this happened, I was actually fortunately in the UK, but I was still, my quench and my thirst for knowledge in those fields didn't stop. So I entered the dark web. That's when the time was when I entered the dark web, and this was 2011, post-August times. When I did so, I ended up and stumbled upon these documents that I was actually finding, and the person that wanted to give that access to me told me that he would require somewhere around 200 quid, which is 200 pounds, and he would want that to be paid in Bitcoin, which was around 32, 34 Bitcoins at that time. And I said, what is Bitcoin? Because that was the first time that I actually stumbled upon Bitcoin as well. And that was basically the start. And one of my closest friends from North, he told me that I know a person that he could help you also get those Bitcoins, and also tell you a little more about it, because he was in it for 4 or 5 months before all of this happened. And that's basically where I kind of stumbled upon this digital peer-to-peer currency, which has no CEO, there's no controlling state-controlled authority. And so it was pretty much as a revelation for me individually, and because of my love for numbers, when I read the white paper, it sort of made sense to me. And I thought I was still so young, but in my deep fantasy as a writer, I thought this is something amazing that I've actually come across, and that's where I started putting my effort and putting my time and putting all my conscious effort towards coming in and jumping the bandwagon. But at the same time, because I was growing up and I was still a student, I didn't have that much I would say additional money, because we never really saw it as a financial instrument, to be very honest. We did like the whole conviction of privacy, and which made me jump into technology much more, which made me make my computing a little more private. My whole systems, I went too much away from Windows, and I went into Linux more so. And I went into establishing your own mainframe and establishing your own systems to be more adept and more private in whatever's going on around the world. So Bitcoin didn't really change my financial outcome back then. But whatever spare things that we had like spare MacBooks back then, which had DDR3 actually RAM. We were one of the first sort of DDR3 miners who could set up the Bitcoin lib and mine some Bitcoins back then. Some Bitcoins at those times when it was just 10 quid was not as much in terms of the financial worth, but later it became a lot more. So yeah, that's how I kind of began my journey in towards crypto. Not that deep. It was more sort of siloed. It was not. There was no ecosystem to pursue. But it was like us three musketeers in Nottingham doing these fancy things on the dark web. So more so, this was the entry, and there are many more details that I can't say much more on a public platform. But this is where kind of the inroads towards crypto started, and yeah, rest everything was a bygone.
That's a really crazy journey, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's nice to speak to somebody who actually was in the crypto space, when Bitcoin was that cheap. So that's
$50 million market cap.
Mad. So cool. So thank you for that. It's really insightful. So we've talked about your background. So let's talk a bit more about Safle now. What is it exactly that you're building with Safle, and how would you describe it, like in the elevator pitch? How would you simply explain?
So basically, Safle has come to be one of my passion projects, and over the years, I have been involved in various projects, especially since 2013. And that basically focused towards the adoption of cryptocurrencies, and more so also focused towards much more on data privacy and ownership of data. But in early 2018, once the last crypto winter kind of kicked in, I witnessed there was a lot of scams that were taking root in India and also around the world. But at the same time, I also fell a victim to some of these ICO scams myself. I don't want to name it, but I lost quite a lot of Bitcoins back then. And these projects never saw the light of day. They never came into play. So Safle comes actually from two words that are really close to me and became very close to me: safe and simple. That's Safle. So it's the culmination of these two words. They kind of resonated with me as to what we really need the crypto industry to do going forward. We need the ecosystem to become more safe to deal with, and also make simpler yet beautiful experiences for users diving into this field. So Safle is basically, if I give an elevator pitch, Safle is a Web3 native, non-custodial, multi-chain identity wallet that helps users to store, manage, send and receive their crypto assets all in one place, execute transactions with other smart contracts, or what you know as decentralized applications, such as lending, borrowing, swapping, NFTs, gaming, and numerous other applications which are out there. And all that from a master identity that is not owned by any third party and is truly self-sovereign. So Safle opens doors to the cryptoverse and gives them access to multiple blockchains without the hassle of managing many keys for different blockchains and assets. Truly, it becomes like a seamless experience. So that's what I would say what Safle is all about.
Brilliant. So you mentioned the Safle journey started a while back. So you started in 2019. Could you share with us some of the challenges that you've faced throughout that time with Safle, and what the biggest challenges and lessons have been for you?
Safle did start in 2019, but this was more sort of inclined towards meetups, events, and education. back then. Tech was being built in the background, back then. I was trying to find like-minded people, gauge the needs of the crypto community users. The actual stuff started taking shape when I started finding my co-founders and giving sort of an organizational outlook to Safle and its journey. So I soon found myself closing other verticals and focusing primarily on developing technology solutions to solve problems existing in the crypto ecosystem, which not many were focusing on back then. And mid of last year, we did a successful seed raise and IDO with Polka Starter and set out a token-governed economy. Before that, it wasn't set out as a token-governed economy per se. And once we did that, the product and technology stack is rather comprehensive. So I would say that we're not as much live yet as you would say with the whole complete suite of products. And we made our identity contracts live though on mainnet and let users choose their unique name on top of the blockchain. These will be primarily their master wallet, under which the whole multi-chain vault could be managed by the user. So these identities rest over the blockchain and are not in our private databases, as you know. So when you talk about the biggest challenges that we faced as a project is building a solid team, which remotely works around the world. Managing and syncing amongst diversity was challenging and yet very interesting for me, personally, because I have been working in other sort of aspects, but truly a global sort of a project and having people working from all around the world, that's something which is very unique for me, and it is challenging to sync up everything when it comes to technology, when it comes to the orientation towards the lifecycle management of developing projects. I wouldn't say that we have mastered that quite yet, but I'm sure that we are on a positive track to grow and be more efficient as a unit. Safle is an open source project, and this becomes another challenge to make things in a more modular way than in a project, in a product sort of an orientation. Because when you're developing an open source project, you don't know how the ultimate user, which is like a decentralized application, would actually use it. And you got to make it like completely modular and open from all sides. And it has to be modular in such a way so that it can be plug and played any which way that people want it to use. And so our challenge was finding the right backers, right partners and advisors along the way that truly believe in your vision. This sort of is hard, but if you have the right faith in your project and the right sort of people who kind of come in. Markets are always challenging in the bull run, as there are like hundreds of projects coming out every day, on a daily basis, and the users or customers' attention is skewed, and can be diluted and very wavy. So in a bear sentiment, crypto winter sort of a market, there are less projects, and we as builders, have accelerated and developed our development and release cycles to launch our product lines. This is the lesson that we learned: build and release when the community is scouting for gems, and also in the need more than ever to be self-custodians of their own assets. I would also like to add that amidst the Celsius crisis, or Terra, Luna, and crypto users start having an understanding to have self-custody or keep self-custody. Otherwise, mostly for crypto users who are new to crypto, exchanges and custody-based solutions feel more natural as they're looking for someone else to manage their funds and assets. Only when things go south, they truly understand the power and importance of self-custody and having total control over their assets, like, the true form of decentralization. So yeah, that's what I would want to say here.
Okay, what would you say is Safle's biggest achievement so far?
I would say Safle's biggest achievement so far is building a closed ecosystem of believers who are working and supporting the project with a mindset to decentralize identity and funds. Creating a new wave of identity and wealth sovereignty, amongst other things. I believe having the right team members, both internal and external, and having the right set of early backers and partners is essential to the growth and success of projects. Hence, I would say that is one of our biggest achievements. But there are other small wins that would be like closing in on finalizing stabilized versions for release to the community. We have reached testing phases for our wallet stack, which is the browser extension, mobile application, and web application. We have also reached testing phase of our software development kits, for developers wanting to integrate and take leverage of multi-chain onboarding of users to their dApps. This SDK and widget basically sets them to integrate seamlessly with a few lines of code. And the beauty is that they can manage all of this in their applications without breaking their in-app experience. So unlike MetaMask or any other thing which kind of takes away the user for a short bit and brings them back to the application, these so these kind of things are small wins that we're together like really happy about.
That's brilliant. So you're saying your SDK is now live and
is in the testing phase, and it's going to be out very, very shortly.
Okay, that's exciting. That's really good. So moving on from that then, your roadmap for this year, for 2022, can you talk more about the plans that Safle's got? And apart from like the SDK, what are the things you've got going on with Safle that you reckon will be actioned or, will be deployed in 2022?
Yeah. So like I said, there are two sets of things primarily for when you come from an application use stack. One is for the retail side, which I mentioned are also in the testing phase, which is the browser extension, the mobile application, and the web application. These are basically set to go out. We're trying really, really hard to have it achieved by the end of the month, so that every user can use it for starting at the end of the month. And obviously every sort of, there are bi-monthly version updates in the first quarter. So all of that is good retail stack sort of a roadmap for users. But on the developer side and on the application development side for developers who are trying to develop a multi-chain aspect of their dApps, multi-chain aspect, that would be going live similar times because they are in tandem. Yeah, it's like the chicken and the egg story, so you need both at the same time. So these go out. Some really, really important things in the roadmap this year is also going to be to establish the DAO, which is going to be end of this quarter or maybe end of this year, and that also requires some some legal structures need to be set up. Wherein our partners also have the background of setting this and helping this up for Ethereum Foundation and Tezos Foundation back in the days, and I'm happy and glad and appreciate the support that those sort of people are giving to us as well. So truly and really and truly, this is an open source project, and an open source project needs open source governance, an open style governance mechanism, and that's why the DAO was really, really important for us, so that the community members could actually assert that, hey, this is the way that we want you guys to move, or this is the additional thing that we want you to do, or this is not what we are unhappy with. And these can't just be statements or comments on a Twitter thread. They are really actionable because they can actually go and raise a proposal and actually fix the problem themselves. And these problems can be fixed on chain and off chain. And we have made segmentation in our technology in such a way that both those sides can be well taken care of if there is any kind of misalignment in our thoughts and the users' thoughts. So these are the things that are really, really important. But I would say when it comes to the feature set, obviously traditional things like storing crypto, managing your NFTs, sending it and receiving it, checking more things what are coming out, and sort of these kind of things. These are normal things. They're obviously there. But what we are actually focusing on this year is on multi-signature wallets. Like, it should be as easy as creating groups with your friends, like you do on Telegram or WhatsApp. And we want to encourage the ability to because see, the first step towards decentralization was self-custody. When people understand that they managing their own assets are worth to do so, because you don't want to end up in a situation like a Celsius or a BlockFi or other things that are yet to happen. But you want to be in a situation where you can say that, hey, I can sleep peacefully. Maybe I'm making a lesser percentage yield on my assets, but I am able to sleep very, very peacefully. And this is why self-custody is very important. And if an experience can make you do so, which is much native to your Web2 experiences, much more native to how you have been experiencing your Facebooks and the Instagrams of the world, then sort of things change. And that's what we're trying to do this year with multi-signature. The other thing which is very imperative for me to do, and I face this challenge myself, is to get custodianship into fragments, and which we are also calling like a sort of a Gaussian setup, but it's sort of in simplest way, it's called a social recovery mechanism. What if you lose your keys, and what if you want to bind them back, or like how do you want to do that? So you can select a number of participants, maybe some of your friends and families, and make a threshold of these many signatures are required to kind of join the keys back. So this is what we're working, which is very important from a retail perspective. From the developer standpoint of view, we have a lot more going in action. We have multiple chains we're working on. The total chains with the same key that we work on, at the moment we have 27 chains that we're working on, and I think by the end of the year mostly 12 or 14 would be active. We are trying to go much more deeper, but like in a more realistic scenario, the optimistic scenario would be 20 plus chains, but the realistic scenario would be somewhere around 10 to 12. We will be having key partnerships with one of the top leading security in the ecosystem, so that we have all those fail-safe measures while we are in beta. When we release, this will be beta for users, and while we are in beta, we will still be going on through tremendous fail-safe testing and penetration testing to ensure that there is no no underlying bugs or any kind of issues that could jeopardize the management of keys, especially. And looking forward to have integrations with hardware supported wallets, which people are using. So and obviously building the ecosystem much more stronger with relationships with the top dApps, which people use in terms of their daily activity. We are much more focused and oriented towards achieving them first. Although they are all open source projects, so it's easy to integrate. But having like a close relationship with them is always a bliss, So yeah, this is what the 2022 roadmap stands out to be. Releases, DAO kick-in, multi-signature, and a social recovery. These sort of cool things are on the chart.
That sounds really cool. Social recovery is something that we definitely need, right?
100%.
I think that's going to be really, really important. So it sounds like you've got lots going on, both like retail side and the dev side. So what about, could you tell us a bit, I know you've touched on it already, but could you tell us a bit more about how like regular users like me in our community, how they can use Safle in their everyday like crypto journey? Like what will they be using it for?
So primarily, wallets are the foundation of crypto, right? So you need a wallet to securely manage your funds or your assets, and that's going to be the primary use case to manage your funds in a more seamless manner, which you can manage it through. Let's say you have it in your mobile application, but you don't always are browsing decentralized applications from a mobile. You're actually using them from your browsers on your systems. And so primary use case would be signing into these decentralized applications, like of your choice. All right, like it may be gaming, lending, borrowing, like DeFi, or any other kind of construct of the smart contract scoping that there is available on the blockchain system. So these are primary use cases. So you manage, and it's so easy to manage because you can get at Shaila, right? There's no .eth, there's no nothing. All right, there's just a simplistic way, this is a simple unique ID and no one else can get Shaila once you get it. And Shaila basically rests over a blockchain of your choice. We don't want to say which one do you want to get it on, but by default, we use Polygon to issue these identities, but you can move it to any other EVM compatible one that we have actually made sure that everything works and our contracts are deployed. But you can also move it to non-EVM ones like Tezos or Solana if you're interested in sort of those blockchains. But in general, even without integrations, we will be accessible towards these chains, so that users can go to their favorite decentralized applications without the risk of or in danger of being kind of watched upon. So your journey is completely private, and your dashboard locks out. Basically, it gives you the analytics and feeds of your most used applications, blah blah blah, all the right metrics and stuff. What have you been doing? But it's for you. There is no one else that can watch it. We don't put it in our database. It's all on chain, and the analysis is completely on chain. So there is no one to kind of worry of someone being kind of chased and traced. And the second thing is, the good application, which the most sort of subset of a wallet is swapping between assets, because in a non-custodial, decentralized sort of a wallet atmosphere, there's not a trade. Crypto is not just about trading, but it's definitely about getting exposure to different sort of assets and stuff like that. So swaps are already embedded in the application, and these are multi-chain in nature as well. So our V2 of our swaps SDK is already out and embedded in our own applications. Other developers can also integrate them, just this SDK of the swaps V2, and get leverage of going towards price discovery elements in terms of, let's say, which is the best swapping price coming from, let's say, Uni or Sushi or 1inch or any other exchange that is out there in a proper DEX AM manner. Then there is also, I covered dApp browsing. I covered more so your fundamental storage of crypto, sending, receiving crypto with name rather than public addresses, which makes it easier. This goes for NFTs as well. So when I talk assets, I'm talking both fungible and non-fungible. And then I talked about swapping already. I talked about exploring decentralized applications so you can log in seamlessly. And we're trying to make our effort super strong to integrate more sort of the best used application, like I said before, so that users can seamlessly go within their interface and go in. Although the browser extension is sort of an injected browser, which is an injected wallet or injected wallet provider. It's a technical term. I'm not sure everyone would understand that, but what that does is that mostly when you go into an application, a decentralized application, and you say connect wallet, and if you have only Safle wallet there, then it will pop up Safle to log you in, even when we are not integrated with our SDK with the application. So that's a seamless experience as well. But once our widget, this software development kit comes in, and the dApp partner or the decentralized application integrates our software development kit, then the widget makes an in-app experience. So the user even doesn't have to go out of the application, and it's a pretty seamless one to do. Then you come out with the new, you can go. So we are very focused on staking, and not about like staking Safle and getting more Safle. That I think that's sort of not the correct way to do it, but staking of POS based assets that are out there in the industry, and and usually what you have to do is you have to go to stake pools. You have to find stake pools for your assets, and then once you find those stake pools, you have to see if those stake pools are filled up or not, and what kind of yield are they giving, and once you do, you have to then delegate your assets to that stake pool. So all of that is in our staking element, which is very seamless, and it only gives you the options on more favored to the assets that you already have in your portfolio, and it also notifies you that, hey, a new kind of position has opened where you can go in and basically fetch more rewards. Like, for example, like a new position has opened for Matic or Cardano stake pool, and then, hey, fill in your slots and just press this button, your assets will be delegated, and there will be no sense of loss of their assets. So these contracts that we are fetching for the stake pools are sort of, they have a longevity track record, and they're not just like spin-off, spin-off like by the night, and there's no sort of risk involved in there, and the people are not going to lose their custody of funds. Then we are very, very much focused on using their assets to vote. All right, voting in a DAO atmosphere at the moment from a retail perspective is not good at all. If I show you the results that are there, you would see that more sort of institutional leverage is there on DAOs, even still to date. And this is something that we all should be going away from. If we want to really be in a truly democratized, decentralized environment, we need to actually go and vote, right? That's what you get told when you're in your state, that if you want to select someone, then you go and vote, or if you want to change something, then go and vote. So same here in the crypto space. If you want to change something, go and vote, right? So everyone wants to have a seamless routing towards voting on their favorite decentralized applications. Let's say, for example, Uni is going through a change, and you should be vocal about it. And how do you be vocal about it? You need to go and assert your vote. And so this needs to be a very simpler exercise. Right now, it's not as simple as it can get, and people don't even get notified when proposals are being passed. So this is something which is very, very important for us. And apart from that, multi-sig and social recovery is two major things that we want to work on. So this is the whole sort of stack of things that you can do and take leverage on, encompassing mostly everything holistically into a one-set, truly centered, decentralized application.
Sounds good. I really think that that the whole seamless use of like a wallet is what's going to drive the adoption of it as well, when it's just, you don't have to think too much about using it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think you're onto something there, but I'm sure you don't.
And semi-autonomous hand-holding by notifications, semi-autonomous, because based on what you like, I wouldn't know what people are being notified for, because it's not like I'm sending a generic notification, hey, new sort of this thing came up, why don't you all join? No, it's not like that. It's a personalized semi-autonomous notification service that enables you, on the basis of what you hold in your assets and what you might be keen as a user, individual user, and then that suggestion comes to you as a notification, where and that too, when the time's right, not like just any time someone just says, but which usual applications do, feeling hungry, go to Zomato, blah blah blah, like none of those bullshit. So yeah.
Okay, so more like sort of pinpointed suggestions.
Yeah.
So we've talked about some of well, we didn't mention it, but you said that you're going to be partnering with somebody really big. Could you tell us about some of the partners you are allowed to talk about, and what you've achieved with them?
I think in general, we have a good set of partners. Some I can talk about, some I can't. But this industry is built upon partnerships. It's a collaborative environment, and there is nothing to be done in silos. So one of the most important things that we always keep in our bag when our previous associations with Certec, in terms of our notable partners could be, when you go on and do a public sort of token release, you need a good public IDO platform. I think Polka started out back then, and so we did that. But post that, we had to get our contracts audited and stuff. And I think Certec is definitely a really good and notable partner. And we do have a long-term arrangement with them, but I think we might be looking at other top-tier players, like I said, and I can't announce that right now. But definitely that's still a good partner to have. Their approach towards they're very diligent in their approach, and also like fast and efficient when it comes to Certec and when it comes to technology audits. And then in terms of accessibility towards infrastructure, we have notable partners, like we have CoinMarketCap and others, with Polygon as an infrastructure partner and stuff. So they're all notable partners where we have to blockchain is still data driven, right? And there's a lot of data that an application such as ours use, and for the same reason we have many data vendors / partners for us to mitigate all these data driven problems that comes with redundancy of data or latency, or actualizing some sort of computational data over time for markets and for metadata for any kind of contracts or NFTs. I think we're definitely going to have two major partnerships on the data driven side as well. One on the cloud storage, one on the decentralized cloud storage file system side. which where again we have every time you go on blockchain, there's always options, and so when I always I'm the guy who needs to be we need to have a low redundancy sort of an environment. So we always have two for everything, and even when we're looking at the IPFS and some segments of cloud, decentralized cloud storage segments, we are looking closely at RVA, to be honest, and Filecoin. For this, we also have oracleization segments coming in. So Chainlink is going to be also coming in. In terms of notable partnerships that we will be doing and have done before, come from the likes of obviously Polygon, Velas, Nia. But we're working on 27 chains, as we said, and 12 of them are being worked upon right now. And these are like Avalanche, Optimism, Arbitrum, Harmony. So there's like this whole list of things that we're working on. And when we're working with them, we work very closely with their teams and some of the founders I know personally, and that makes it a little easier for us to communicate and get things resolved or get support, which is needed all the time. And then we have notable partners on the infrastructure organizational level. Like I said, fundraising it could be done in a very smart way, so that you can make your journey a lot more smoother and easier. And I think when we call our partners, we call them backers, who believe in our vision and who support us both with, financial terms as well. The project got supported from financial terms, but the project is much more supported with their own, pragmatic behavior, the whole cognition that comes in from their side towards the project. And I think for us, a lot of notable people have been of great help. And Draper has been of great help. Woodstock has been of great help. GAF Capital has been of great help. Crypto Oasis in the MENA region has been of great help. Some notable people individually have been of great help, but then there's going to be a long list. But what happens is that because of them, the accessibility towards their own portfolio projects. So at the moment, when we talk about our SDKs and we talk about our portfolio integrations, there are 270 plus projects which have decent amount of regular traction that opens up when we come out with an SDK, and which is very soothing for us, because we would have had to track and trace them and then find a communication line with them and say, hola, amigo, we want to fucking work with you. I'm sorry about the language. So this is become much more easier with the support and partners which our backers have. And if I actually note everything down, we sort of had like around, we wanted to keep it like completely decentralized and completely distributed. So we had, in the number game, we had more than 50 partners when we started the project. And those 50 partners, if you actually knit them through, the network effect is 50 square, right? Because that's the network effect, if you think about it. But in general, even if you do multiplier effect for the network effect, we have close to 10% of the crypto ecosystem in our hands whenever we launch, and if we play our cards right. So this is because 2,500 projects come out, and let's say if we look at CoinMarketCap, there are around 20,000 plus projects. We have 8 to 10% of markets in our direct communication, or second or third degree of communication line, I think. So that makes us that makes it a little more easier and more sort of guided as well. And whenever you need something, you just have to pick up the phone and you need to be verbal about what kind of bottlenecks and challenges that you're facing, and if we're in need of some guidance, it comes through like from the right sort of minds. And I think these kind of people who have been established in the industry for a decent bit of time, they also are humble. Number one, they look at they're far-sighted, and they know that we build blocks together, and so all of these kind of ethos were shared with our backers, and I'm really happy that that we can do much more with them.
Cool.
And win together.
Yeah, no, I agree that. Partnerships, like you said, work well if they're going to be supporting you as backers as well. So like you said, it just opens more doors for you and helps you make those warm connections, those introductions, rather than like cold emails and things. So yeah, I completely understand that. It gives access to really valuable networks, which is vital in blockchain and in our little blockchain world. So
Absolutely.
We know, see, at Uplift, we've got a philosophy of building, and we're pretty undeterred by the market. So we're not worried at all. We think we're going to be fine. Everything's as normal, you know, and to continue building in the bear market is like the way forward and the way to win. What would you say your core philosophies are with Safle?
So in general, like the core philosophies are made in such a way that, you know, you're kind of, it doesn't orient to a bear and a bull market. The philosophies remain as principles, and they're deeply, you know, you imbibe them deeply so that you can, you know, weather the storm, right, at all times. In general, the philosophy of Safle is to always be safe and be simple, right? So when we're talking about being safe, we're talking about being safe in any sort of an environment. And so we're a friendly brand. When we want to come out, we're going to be coming out as a very friendly, futuristic, you know, innovative solution. So our key core principles is always to innovate, is to be future and forward looking, to be, again, safe in general, because we're a wallet and we want everything to be safe in you know, in general. We want simplistic structures. We don't want to complicate things. We want to make it simple for people. Not everyone understands blockchain in itself and AI in itself are deep, complex structures, data structures by themselves, and we want to simplify them. And that's why simplicity is one of our deep ethos. When it comes to crypto winter, I've been a builder since 2013, and I think the idea is to always build in these sort of markets and also have you know, like do things to, again, imbibe the right sort of mindset in the community. So education is super important at these times, internally and externally, you know, to manage expectations of your own kin, which is inside working for, you know, for your project. So I think education is primary in these markets. Building is primary in these markets. A lot of people have lost their jobs as a result. Coinbase is 1/5 less of what it was, let's say, a couple of months ago. You know, so everyone's slicing and dicing their human resources, and at this point in time, it is imperative for people like us to stay strong, to learn every day, see on those mistakes that you did, you know, learn from them, and sort of be ready for a better, bigger plunge that you can take, you know, in the next cycle when it comes in. And I think mostly, like, if you set your things right, I'm not talking about trading only, and I'm talking about in general. The time in winters, what do? We stay home, right? We stay home. We cook ourselves and we keep ourselves warm, right? So that we can again go back out in the summer and have a great time. And so what do we need? We need resources to live through. So you plan better as a project. I can say you plan better, and no one can time the market, right? So you always need to apportion and have a buffer. So let's say, for example, what has the timelines in crypto taught us? The bear markets usually vary from 18 months to 30 months. Let's keep a buffer. Usually the markets have also been seen to be shorter and shorter every time that they go forward. Let's also learn and get that factor into account, into the variable, as a variable. And then so we expect this winters to be, let's say, for 18 months, you know, in general, and you can have a buffer of six months. So 2 years of this winter, you need to stay warm. You need to have all the teams stay warm. You know, provide them for whatever they need, and have a clear-cut indicative roadmap on what comes when. And so this is what is the main plan. You know, in survival and sustenance is the key to success also. You know, and sustainability was one of the virtues that we share and we want to build with, because imagine if we've been building for 3 years, right? So if a project takes like 3 years to build, it definitely needs to sustain for 30 so that it can be, you know, like that's the vision sort of like we built for, like, you know, if you're working for these many years and more than 1,000 days have gone by and you've been, you know, on your dream. then you want to excel in that and you want to pursue that dream and distribute it to people and, for a much longer tenure, and that's what it is. So sustainability is something which we definitely want to achieve, and that's why we have segmented our time scale from a 2-year perspective. If the winter goes on to a 2-year segment, that's what we're kind of prepared for at the moment. And our backers are very supportive, and in this case, where everyone knows there might be. Everyone has their different views. There might be a little bit of a good side, even in between this crypto winter. There might be a little bit, like there might be a decent bit of autumn, in between, but that could be good in general. But for a project who's developing right now, someone who's coming in, they need to learn more from what has happened. As we learned from the mistakes that we did in 2016, 17, we learned and did many things in 18 and 19 and rectified those things. And then 20 was a great thing again. But then, because it is such an innovative, market, it's like an atomic explosion when new things kind of kick in, and everyone is deemed to make mistakes, and people who have been low down and they should not feel that they have done something very wrong, or they should not take it too personally or get into any sort of a bad mindset, but rather take them as learnings and take them as lessons that life teaches them throughout, and try not to make them again. But it's not like that. Don't make mistakes. Go out and make mistakes in as much as you can. But sort of keep your mindset to be positive, to be active, so that you could be learning much more. A good mindset learns more than a bad mindset. And so if learning is the key here, especially. We're still nascent. We're still in blockchains first, sort of like it's not even gone through a lot of other tests that that need to pursue, and when we're going to talk about Metcalfe's law and other things. But we need to be diligent in our approach. We need to learn from what's gone wrong, not just our mistakes, but the industry's mistake as well. We need to also see that there are some things which are still tied down to institutional levels and mindsets, and it has been creeping into blockchain and crypto ever since as well, because it becomes part of a bigger financial ecosystem and environment that we are all in. If you are having a virtuous and righteous mindset to deliver something good to the ecosystem, then stay humble and stay calm and carry on, basically.
Stay calm and carry on. That should be the meme. I think you answered my next question. Next question was going to be like, how do projects, ensure long-term success? But you've mentioned the whole thing about making sure you've got resources to keep everybody fed and warm for the next couple of years, and keep in mind that the bear market could, be for a couple of years. So to keep your head down, building and stay positive.
And keep educating, and also keep educating yourself with a fresh and clear mind, that be positive, like you said. Yeah.
Absolutely, agree with that. So, so we're talking about the markets now. Everybody's really positive in the bull markets, and then in the bear markets, the sentiment can be a bit. Some people can get really low. What would you say to our uplifters? Like, how can they outlast a bear market, and what ways can they utilize Safle to help them grow through this time?
So I think in general, when if we think about it from the retail perspective, right, it's very difficult, from my opinion, from my understanding of being in this side of space. I have not been ever in stocks. I've never been in any sort of other things. I have only realized my learnings on financial wealth. More so, because I was very young when I got into it. I'm 33 now, but when I stepped in, I was 21 and a half years old, just stepping to 22. The orientation that I have is that everything that I have in my life achieved was mostly through crypto. And like no one, I would say, would believe in like crazy ideas that I used to have like back then. And so I think like markets always, and the markets are also a reflection of your own sort of life. Like if someone would say that, hey, like come into trading and like learn trading for a bit, so that even you can make like an upside here and there. I think markets are a true reflection of your own determination, patience, and skill, not just only like the trading techniques that you learn. What I would like to say is that one person should always be able to like cut their losses at the right time, which I don't, because I have never had any wealth before crypto in general. Let's say that, all right, apart from like bits and bobs that I did here and there, but in general, like most of my wealth came from a non-traditional, unconventional financial system that rewarded me for being stupid at an early time. Like there is nothing else that can happen, right? So I cannot guide someone to be pragmatic in times like these, because I never sell. I only expense out my things. I have never in 2017 sold at 19,000. I have never in 65,000 sold. I have not sold. I sell so that I can live by my life. My friends and peers or my mom gets concerned if I spend more, and I don't buy a house. I don't do all that. I don't buy any kind of like depreciating assets. I either invest in people or I either invest in myself or invest in experiences of myself, so that I can live a fruitful life, and make sure that I have enough experiences to kind of meditate over going forward. I invest in a lot of books. That's pretty much it. So I think in general, I would say that if you are coming from a traditional retail background, the markets are always there to mess you up. So you got to be more diligent, but don't try to be over smart than the market. No, don't try to time the market before the market times you out, right? And always just follow the trend and take your upside and get out. If you're believing in it fundamentally, then don't get out. But if you believes in a short-term gain, because it is a financial thing for your actual income, right? I had no income. I still don't have an income. I just have created some wealth to go by in my life, and I am happy about that. Because I didn't want to work in corporate, I didn't want to work with institutions. But if someone's getting into the market for seeing an upside, I'm the worst guy to talk to about, because I might just be able to tell you that, hey, if you think that something's going up, right, follow it and get out. Like, get out. If you think that the market, so usually what happens is there is always a time of there are two cycles in the market, right? Or one of accumulation and one of distribution. The simplest way to kind of put it. Yeah, these are the times of accumulation, right? When you're going in on the wedge, right? The wedge is going down. You can accumulate as much as you can. Obviously, you're not going to put in much more than you have, or much more than you fear to lose, or risk of losing. That's insanity, and there is no solution to stupidity, not even from me. And the only thing is that if you want to make money from crypto, or I think the best option is to come and work in crypto, make your own presence, make your own, evolve with it, get paid it, and then see the upside. And that's number one. If you want to be like, no, I don't want to learn anything about crypto, but I want to make money in crypto, then good luck to you guys. That's where the winters kind of come in for. that's why the winters are here. So yeah, the market is run from institutional metrics that you will never be able to resort. We have more deeper correlation than the markets in diamonds. So we are completely right now infused, and there are many ways that we can see these actions. So you need to be true to yourself. This is not a market, and I think everyone in crypto. One thing which I'm sure that I don't really love that much is that everyone's resorted to crypto and in a much more trading sign of the direction. They don't know any fundamentals, about something when they get in. They get into through word of mouth or getting FOMO'd in. It doesn't really end well if you're doing like that, right? So I think for anyone, for people who are kind of looking, they get educated. They should get into fundamentals. Start working with some crypto projects if possible. crypto projects work remotely all around the world. There are more than 20,000 projects that are active in crypto that have a token economy. So that means there must be at least 5x times more projects that are involved in crypto. So, think wisely. Don't think about overnight success and gains that you might have. Yeah, like the true story, right? Like I had more than 100 times the Bitcoins that I had, all right, today. And it's not like I was stupid in 2013 selling them. I wanted to make a project in crypto. I really wanted to work when no one was working. So I had to let it out for $18, $25, $35, $50, and I sell it up to $100. And I was paying salaries. And it was the first time in my life that I was an employer and I was paying salaries to other people. And for those reasons, I was encashing my crypto. And I would never call that stupidity, because if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reached here. I wouldn't have had that experience. I wouldn't have had that, capabilities, or being much more humble, right? Like in my approach. So that was not stupidity. So the other thing, I had funds in Mt. Gox. It got scooped up, right? Again, that is a lesson, right? It wasn't stupidity, because that was the only exchange in that point of time that could send money to my NatWest account, right? So there was no other choice. Otherwise, I would have gone to people, and there were other peer-to-peer things in local Bitcoins back then. But that was not. So that was a stupidity, but that was a natural thing to do. But I learned from it, and hence I built a non-custodial wallet. Third thing is that I lost my money. I wouldn't say money, but these assets, which is called Bitcoin, which is highly valuable right now, in 2017, 2016 ICO scams, right? And giving them to a tune of like 5 Bitcoins to someone and this, that, the other. But at that point in time, Bitcoin was actually decently valuable at 14,000, 18,000, 20,000, the same levels that we are at right now. But the feeling was always like, oh, maybe we give it and maybe we make something more. It's sort of a trade. It's an investment sort of a trade, but it's still a trade. I lost all those trades in life. Bet on yourself to do well. That's the best trade that you can have. I think personally that's what it is. But I've seen people be 5% of the whole trade market makes money. 95% loses to those 5%. Who are those 5%? If you think you are those 5%, if you have that belief that you are in the 5%, you will make more money in the winters than you made it in the summers, right? So I think if you think that you're in the 5%, then actually be diligent, make a promise, don't lose much more than you can, and go ahead with it. Maybe like 2 to 5% of your complete wealth, put it in trading, get a decent yield out of that, and live your life. Probably learn more. But the best outcome, I think, is to work with someone and work with a project and work with people who can guide you. If you really believe in the industry and if you really believe in the community, artists do what? They do artwork. But what has the crypto industry told them? Oh, why don't you get into this asset? Why don't you get into that asset? And the artist is cute. He's like, what should I do? Should I do the artwork or should I see how much ETH I'm holding? And so there is this balance that one needs to sort out for themselves. And I have many friends, artist friends, right, who have done amazing collections of NFTs and murals and clothing and stuff around the world. And I meet them, they are much more paranoid in where their portfolio is going. Being an artist, what's it doing to them? Bad art. Tomorrow morning, they're going to get up and make bad art because it's going to mess up their mind. So I think just be the crucial thing is to always invest in things that you really believe in. Number one, even if it's winter, summer, or whatever season that there is. All right. Number one, invest only what you can believe in. Invest only what you can lose. You can go to zero. Anything can go to zero. We've seen everything can go to zero. If, there are different examples only. These are just example setters. These Terra, Lunas, and Celsius, they're example setters in every sort of cycle. And there'd be much more. But everything can go to zero. But don't let yourself go to zero, like that's the only thing, which I'd say.
Good stuff. I like it. So I think that is really important. From the biggest thing I've learned from the last cycle I encountered was, like you said, get out.
get out.
When it's a lot of money for you in real life,
reduce your losses, cut off.
In real life, like, this will pay this off and this will help me for this, then get out. Like, it's done the bit, you've made as much as more than you thought you would or whatever. Don't just sit there and get greedy. And I did that in the first run.
Exactly. Always have like a entry point and an exit point. If you're trading,
you need to like
get out. You need to say to yourself and really be honest to that trade that, hey, I'm getting it at 80 cents. All right. I'm not looking, according to the fundamentals, I'm not really looking to go much more than 20%. Get out at 20%. Even if the trade right now is at 25%, you just got lucky, but have your stop losses and have your take profits on that trade if you're being a trader. And if you're not being a trader, invest in the long term. Be cyclical. Invest in anywhere between 2 to 4 years of longer rhythmic cycles rather than shorter rhythmic cycles, which can't let you sleep at night. Invest in longer rhythmic cycles, invest in your passion projects, you sleep well, that you're supporting the good projects, like have that kind of an orientation. I think it works well.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time today and all of your insight. It's so knowledgeable. It was lovely hearing everything that you had to say about your past, Safle, and how we should be behaving in the current markets. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to speak to you and to give my 2 cents on what we can be or like do in these strange times.
You too. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. So hopefully we'll speak to you again. Maybe have you again on again sometime. But this will be shared with our community. I'm sure we'll have lots of questions for Safle and be joining your community too to learn more about you guys. So again, thank you for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Sure, would love to come back and see you soon too. Thank you so much for having me, Shara.
Bye.